Hello everyone, and welcome to another video lesson in science for grade 6. And for today, we will discuss about one of the important system in our body, which is the muscular system. Okay, so I have here a picture of our muscles. So this is exactly how it would look like without our skin or without our outer layer of protection. So we will not be able to see the bones or the skeleton right away because they are covered or wrapped in muscles. Okay, so first let us identify our goals or target for today's video lesson. So at the end of this video, you are expected to identify the parts of the muscular system and to name the different types of muscles and supporting structures. And also be able to cite ways on how to take care of the muscles of your body. Alright, so let's talk about the function of our muscle. So one important function of our muscle is mobility or movement. You're right, no? It is our muscle that enable our skeletal system or our bones to move. That's why we can run, we can walk, we can jump, we can dance, we can talk, we can do a lot of things. It is because of the muscles of our body. Okay, the muscles receive the ability to move through the nervous system. So basically, the one who is giving the signal or the message or the command for the muscle to move is our nervous system or our brain. So it is directly controlled by our brain. And every time our muscle contracts or relaxes, there is movement because they are attached to the bones of our body. Another reason for that is every time our skeletal muscle pull on the bones causes movements at the joints. And the skeletal muscle also pulls on the soft tissues, okay, of the face, causing facial expressions. So every time you smile, you frown, okay, you stick your tongue out, you blink. So there are muscles involved. There are facial muscles that are responsible for those actions or facial expressions. So there is also movement caused by muscles in our respiratory system. So we have a very special muscle in between our abdominal cavity, which separates it to our chest cavity, which is called the diaphragm. And every time the diaphragm contracts, it causes a vacuum in our lungs. That's why we are able to inhale or suck up air from our surroundings. So it's also very important in breathing. Another, our muscle gives our body shape and form. It is important for posture. Aside from that, it also protects our bones. It protects our internal organs. So muscles wrap the bones, holding them together, keeping them stable. And at the same time, it provides shape to the body. The muscles of the body wall also protects the internal organs. Skeletal muscles, particularly in the body wall, cushion the body's internal organ. Okay, so the organs in our abdominal cavity, like our stomach, liver, intestine, kidney, and our large intestine, our uterus. So it's found in the abdominal area. So it's also protected by our muscles in our body wall. Okay, so that when there is a force applied on the outside, it will not directly affect our internal organs, because when it it hits our internal organ directly, it can cause a lot of problem and damage to it. Okay. Next, so our muscle is also important in keeping our body temperature at a regular, um, what they call this, regular or normal temperature. Okay, so heat is a waste product of muscle metabolism, which helps maintain an internal body temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. And if you notice, every time you move, okay, of course, the movement is caused by muscle. So every time we move, we feel hot and we become very sweaty, right? So that is because heat is the byproduct or the waste product of muscle movement or metabolism. Okay. So then our muscle is also important for the circulation of blood, which allows the transport of important materials like oxygen and nutrients, okay, enzymes and hormones, to be distributed to the different parts of the body that needs it. Okay, so because our heart is made up of muscles, which is the cardiac muscle or the myocardium. So that's why our heart is able to pump blood. It's because of the cardiac muscle or myocardium. I have here some trivia for you. Maybe there's some of the things here you already know. Some of the things may be new to you. So, like this one, the face has 43 muscles. Right? That's amazing. So we have many muscles in our face. Okay, and these are the muscles that creates facial expression. One of that is frowning and smiling. When we frown, we use all the muscles in our body or in our face, I mean. So 43 muscles and only 17 muscles to smile. So that's why it is very important to smile, no, and not to frown often. Why? Because when you do that, you are using a lot of muscles in your face, and it will cause you to age faster. So you will become old faster if you keep on frowning. So just keep on smiling. Okay, next. The smallest muscle is found in the middle ear, and it anchors the stapes, which is the smallest bone of the body. So the smallest muscle is also attached to the smallest bone, which is found in the middle ear. And this is called the stapedius. Okay, now the muscles in our body makes up almost half of our body weight. And we have at least more or less 600 plus muscles in our body. Muscle cells are called myocytes. And we have here the widest or the broadest muscle of the body, which is found at our back, which is called the latissimus dorsi, or it's also known as the lats. So it's in the back portion of our body. So that's the widest muscle, the latissimus dorsi. Okay, then we have also the largest muscle in our body found in your buttocks, okay, in our ass. It's called the gluteus maximus. So it will also cushion our, okay, butt every time we take a seat. No? It's like you have there a pillow. No? So it cushions your um, buttocks. That's the largest muscle in our body. Then we have the strongest muscle in the human body, which is found in the face, in the jaw. So that is the masseter. The masseter, the masseter is helpful every time we chew food. No? So it's very powerful. It's able to crush food. No? Okay. We are able to grind food because of the help of our masseter. Okay. But also the heart muscle is also a very strong muscle. No? And it's the most hard-working muscle in our body because it never stops working. It works 24/7, no, non-stop. So it starts to work when you were still in your mother's womb, and it will only stop working when you are dead. So the heart is also one of the strongest muscle, the most hardworking muscle of our body. So the heart muscle, the myocardium. Okay, then we have here the longest muscle in the body, which is called the sartorius. It's found in our upper, like upper thigh, in our leg. So it's this red strip found in the picture crossing the leg down to the inside of the knee. Okay, so that's the sartorius muscle. Okay, now let's talk about the properties. So when we say properties, these are characteristics of the muscles. Your muscles are excitable and irritable, meaning to say it responds, it reacts, it receives stimulations, and responds to this stimulation. Then it is contractible, meaning to say it's capable of contracting or shortening. So it's capable of stretching or increasing its length, and at the same time, it also is capable of shortening. Okay, next, it is extensible, meaning to say it can be stretched without damage through the application of force, because our muscle is very elastic. So that's another property of the muscle, which is elasticity. So it's able to return to its original shape and form and length after being stretched or extended or contracted. So that is elasticity. Okay. Muscles are also adaptable. So it can be changed according to how it is used. So for people who always go to the gym or do exercises like jogging, running, swimming, so the tendency is they would develop their muscle. They will increase the size of the muscles in the body part that they use often or constantly. Okay, so it is called hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is the enlarging of the muscles. So kanang mga bodybuilders, they have very big muscles in their arms, Okay, so and the runners, they also have very strong and big leg muscles. And those who are swimmers, they have very broad shoulders and very powerful arm muscles, right? So that's hypertrophy, the enlargement of the muscles. But when you don't use your muscle, if you're very lazy, if you're always like sitting down or sleeping, something like that, or because of accident, like you weren't able to use your leg muscle, the tendency is that your muscle will become smaller. It will shrink. That is what we call atrophy. So this is experienced by people who experience accidents, or those who are paralyzed because of stroke or because of a disease. So for those people who can't walk, so their muscle in the legs shrunk. So that's the wasting away of the muscle because they were not in use. So that is what we call atrophy. So again, enlargement of the muscle is hypertrophy. When your muscles shrink or waste away, it's called atrophy. Now, there are three types of muscles in our body. And this muscle can be classified as voluntary or involuntary. When we say voluntary muscles, these are the skeletal muscles or the muscles that we can control, while the involuntary muscles are the muscles that we don't have direct control, or even if we're not doing anything, they are still working because it is directly controlled by the brain or the nervous system. So we call them the involuntary working. So these muscles are the muscles that work without our knowledge or without our direct control. Okay, so let's start with the skeletal muscle. So the skeletal muscle is an example of a voluntary muscle. So the skeletal muscles wrap our bones and enables them to move. Then we have another type of muscle, which is the smooth muscle, or we can also call this the visceral muscles. So these muscles are involuntary. So they move on their own, no, without our knowledge or without our direct control. So even if we are sleeping, they are still working. So these are the muscles found in our organs, like in our digestive tract, the esophagus. So there's a movement called peristalsis that pushes food downward, every time you swallow. So the esophagus will push the food downward into our stomach. That is because the wall of the esophagus is made up of visceral or smooth muscles. Okay, the walls of the stomach and the intestines are also made up of smooth muscles. Okay, other organs like our bladder and our uterus also have smooth muscles. Okay, then we have the third, which is the cardiac muscle. So the cardiac muscle is another involuntary muscle. So this muscle doesn't stop working, continues working without our knowledge or even if we're sleeping. So this is the muscle of the heart, or these are the muscles of your heart, the cardiac muscles. So this is the reason why your heart contracts or your heart beats. Every time your heart beats, it will allow blood to circulate. It will push the blood as well, okay, and deliver important nutrients along with it, including the oxygen that our cells need to survive. Okay. So the muscular system is not only limited to the muscles, they also have other parts like the supportive structures. So these are the things or the parts attached to our muscles and connects it to other parts of the body. For example, the bones. So we have here the tendons. So what are tendons? These are actually connective tissue that is attached to muscle and the bone. So it attaches the muscles to the bones. So we call that tendon. And then there we have the tendon. No? It attaches the bone and the muscles. Okay, then we have the fascia. Now the fascia is another supportive structure that connects muscle to muscle. Okay, muscles to muscles. So that's the fascia. Okay, so these are the examples of fascia. You have fascia in your head, okay? Then you have in your legs as well, in your wrist and your ankles. Okay, so fascia again connects muscle to muscle. So there, okay? Now we have another supportive structure, but it is more a part of the skeletal system because it connects bone to bone. So that's the ligaments, no? Okay. You already know about that in our previous lesson. Okay, then we have the movements of the muscle. So we have the automatic muscle movements. So we call them reflexes. Okay, so these are automatic muscle movements. Okay, then we have our bicep and triceps. So these are the muscles found in our upper arms. And the quadriceps are the muscles in our thighs. So we call it biceps because it is a pair of muscle. Then we have tricep because there are three types of muscles in there. And quadriceps because there are four muscles in our thighs. Okay, next. Okay, so here are some more muscles. So the deltoids are our shoulder muscles, the pectorals, the chest muscles. Then we have the abdominals or the muscles in our stomach area. The masseter, we already talked about that. This is the muscles in our, these are the muscles in our jaw. Okay, and then we have the buccinator, the muscles attached to the cheeks and to the teeth. Okay. Now, how can we take care of our muscles? It's very simple. You watch what you eat. You are what you eat as well. So you have to eat food rich in protein. Okay, contains amino acid. Food that contains a lot of vitamin C, calcium. No, what else? Vitamin D, phosphorus, and potassium. So what are these foods? So meat products, poultry products like milk and eggs, no? And chicken. What else? Seafoods, fish, shrimp, no? Then seashells, okay, and dairy products like cheese. Okay, so it's very good for your muscles. So other food that you can eat are nuts like whole grains and also fruits and vegetables. So it also is important for your bones and for your muscles. Another thing you can do is to exercise regularly because, like I said, if you don't use your muscle often, they will shrink, no, and they will lose its strength, not to move. So you have to move them every time. You have to do exercises. So even doing chores at home is a form of exercise already. Okay, so regular physical activity helps keep your muscles toned, strong, and healthy. So if you keep moving or using your muscles, they will become very strong. But if you don't use them, you don't move, you are very lazy, so it will weaken your muscles. Also, you have to practice good posture, not just in standing or walking, but also when you are sitting down. So you have to sit properly. Then wear safety equipments when doing physical activities, like when you are riding your bike, you have to wear safety gears, no kneecap, protect your. You have knee pad to protect your knee. You also have to wear helmet. Okay, so those type of equipment will keep you safe. Then you have to sleep in a fetal position in a firm mattress. So it's good the eye to sleep in a fetal position. No? Kanang murag magtikungkung. So you also have to sleep, okay, in a comfortable bed or in a firm mattress. Okay, so these are some of the muscle conditions or illness or disorders or problems in our muscles. So I will just read each one of them so you have an idea, and then you can research more about this type of disorder. You know? So we have bursitis, muscle soreness. So every time we have a small tear in our muscle, we feel pain. So that's muscle soreness. Okay, then here's another one, Charlie horse. Wow, that's a nice name. Okay, it's a bruise in which tears may occur in the muscle. So murag mabunog imong muscle, no? Okay, and it would cause, possibly cause tear, magisi, or madamage imuhang muscle. Then we have muscle cramps, kanisha, very common. It is a result from a sudden and usually strong contraction of muscle. Okay, muscular dystrophy, katong gamay imong mga muscle no, sa parts sa body nga wala nimo gigamit. So that's what we call muscular dystrophy. Okay, so I have here a checkup test for you to answer. Okay, so take your time in answering it. See if you still remember the things that we have discussed and try to be honest in answering. You may write your answer in a piece of paper or in your notebook. And if you need more time to answer and to think about the answer, just pause this part of the video. Okay, so good luck in answering. Okay, so that's the end of our video lesson. So thank you everyone and hope you have learned something for today.